I first got the idea of NoshPit from a cooking group that met once a week. It was once a month. It was all of my husband's friends, where you had to come up with food that was not just what it tasted like, what it looked like, but kind of what it felt like, what it sounded like. We got into it. It was fun. I got very into it. And the ones who got the most into this cooking group, who would show up, I would show up with 2-3 dishes sometimes. It was me and Stefan. And Stefan and I got into a phase in our lives where we were both changing jobs at exactly the same time. And we were talking about it, like, what are you gonna do? Or, I'm losing my job, I'm quitting my job. Wanted to start a food truck. Sounds kind of crazy, like just random thought there. And we started talking about it, and it took a few years from talking about it to actually make it happen. It did. And there are steps along the way. We took a class through Detroit Food Labs, which is a great organization. It teaches you how to start a food-based business. And we were one of the class favorites at the end. We got a little certificate, and Stefan came out of it saying, I think we can do this. So it really did come from the cooking group called Snack Dicks, and it came from two 40-year-olds saying, my life is changing. I want to do something totally different. Like, it was fun to have an idea that was all your own, and you kind of wing it, and you don't answer to anyone really if you make a mistake. They don't teach you in business school what to do when an employee's having a bad day, or what to do when your truck breaks down. Like, they don't teach you what it's like to get a bad review on Facebook or on Google. Like, these are all kind of part of the learning curve, but you don't think about it when you think of your vision. You think of all the good things, but when you have to deal with some challenges, that's the hard part, is learning how to do this and hoping that you did the right thing. How do you respond to a customer review? How do you deal with making mistakes, handing someone the wrong food? We had been renting a kitchen that was a very high rent and sharing it with multiple other people. And when we started looking for other kitchens to rent, we first started looking for just kitchens. You can't find very many just kitchens. You have to build your own. So we kept on finding restaurants for rent, or restaurants where you could rent, the space in the front and the space in the back. And we were like, if we're looking at restaurant space, let's think about it. And we were fortunate to get this space for barely more than what we were paying before, and it's beautiful. I knew from the second I walked in the door that this is where I wanted to have a restaurant someday, so we just kind of made it work sooner. It was harder to go from not really knowing what you're doing to really not knowing what you're doing. I would also say that we have a pretty cool atmosphere. We're not about being fancy. We're more about being ourselves and being creative and being unique. A lot of the art on our walls is done by our staff. It feels very homey when you come here. Yeah, and it's nice that the staff feels like this is their place too. There's something about working for yourself. There's something about driving a food truck. It's really fun. Yeah, there's fun stuff about it. Working festivals, getting to hear music, getting to see the country. I mean, we've been to Chicago and Cleveland, and it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun having a life on the road with food too.